Ron Atchison for AutoForge.net. Question: what's one thing that plagues all modern cars? Plastic headlights that become foggy after just a few years. Typically, the way to fix it is you sand down the headlight. Some places will put a clear coat over the top of it. Others will just polish it and put some type of a sealant over it. Works fine for the short term, but a year or so later, they're back to being foggy. So now you're back to putting the clear back on, or you're back to polishing them, or whatever. And all this time you're spending money on it. So let me show you a way that you can do it at home. You probably own most of these things already if you do much detailing at all. A few of them maybe not, but I'll share those with you. And so what we're going to be using is the new Jescar Performance Cut compound. Now this is an aggressive compound, but it also finishes off really, really nice. Says on here that it's formulated to remove 1,500 grit wet sanding marks from fresh paint or deep scratches, oxidized and weathered paint. It's also compatible with gel coat. So if you got a boat, it's a great compound, works very well. We're going to refine that with Mckees 37 all-in-one headlight restoring polish. Then for the protection, we're going to put a coat of Mckees 37 Graphene Headlight coating on it. The tools we'll be using are very simple. We've got some 3-inch microfiber pads. It's a little 1-inch. Also got 3-inch foam pad, 1-inch foam pad, and some detailing clay. That's all we're going to use. So let me show you how easy it is to do this yourself, save you a bunch of money. You'll find it rewarding once you're done and you look at your car and you see how nice the headlights look. So let's get to it and I'll share with you how to do it. All right, so to save a little time off camera, I went ahead and taped up everything around the headlight. Even though we're not going to be sanding, I don't have to worry about, scratching up the paint with sandpaper or anything, but around the headlight, like this part of the grill here, is a matte finish. So when I'm polishing this headlight, the polish and the pad, it doesn't care what it's polishing, it's going to polish whatever it hits. So last thing I want to do is have the pad go onto this matte finish on this grill and put a shiny spot in it. So easiest way to prevent that is just simply tape it off. So just like you would paint on the car before you get started, we're going to go ahead and clay it. You only need a small little piece. This is not much bigger than a quarter, but when you start rubbing it on there, it's going to be just like when you're claying paint. It's going to be rough. Clay is not going to want to slide, and then all of a sudden the clay is going to start sliding. That lets you know you're taking the oxidation off. So go ahead and clay the headlight. The other thing about that is, the headlights along with the front of your car is constantly being pelted with rocks, sand, bugs, all that kind of stuff. So all of that stuff gets embedded into the headlight plastic just like it does your paint. And so, if you're trying to clear up the plastic, the last thing you want is grit in there, and you're grinding that grit into the plastic. So now that section there is nice and slick. So I've probably only done maybe a quarter of the headlight, but you can see the amount of oxidation that's coming off on the clay. Now the one thing that this will not fix You know, if you've got some pretty significant rock chips in your headlight, this is not going to take the rock chips out of it. You know, if you were to sand them, depending on how deep they are, that may not take them out either. It'll definitely reduce them, but you know, there's always the possibility that they're just not going to come out. So there you can see the amount of grime and everything else that the clay is pulling off of there. So now we've got everything all nice and slick. That's about all we're going to end up doing with the clay. We'll just go ahead and wipe it off. Even with just doing that, you can already see that you can see the yellow on the towel from the oxidation that was on there. So now the headlight is dull, but it's slick. So now it's time to fix that. So what I'm going to use is I have a 3-inch microfiber cutting pad along with the Jescar Performance Cut compound. Shake it up. And what I'm going to do is, the 3-inch pad is not going to fit into these corners, obviously. So I'm going to just concentrate on this wide area initially, get that all cleaned up, and then I'll come back behind with my 1-inch pad and then cut in every place that the 3-inch pad would not fit. This is kind of a slow process. You don't want to move back and forth all over the headlight, you know, like you would paint. Even though I've got 4 drops on there, that's not enough to do this whole headlight. Those 4 drops will probably only do a space about that wide, probably about twice the size of the pad. And you'll see it takes no time at all that this pad will become covered in oxidation. So we'll go ahead and get this polished up. So I'm moving across the headlight very slowly. And all of this time, I've probably only gone about 1.5 inches on the headlight. As far as I'm going to go. So then you can see the pad has become matted down, so we want to blow that out. It's going to get all that old oxidized plastic out of there. Pad's actually starting to turn a little yellow. We're just going to continue with this same system all the way across the headlight. You can already see a big difference between here and here. So what you want to do is continually keep the pad moving. You don't want to move across the headlight very quickly, but at the same time you do not want to stay in one spot too long, because you can develop enough heat that you can actually melt the headlight. But as long as you keep the pad moving, you don't have to worry about that happening. So let me grab a towel and wipe that off. I'll bring you in here and let you see the kind of progress we've already made. As you can see, that already looks a lot better. That's what it looked like when we started. Just that short amount of time, that's what we've got. So we'll continue on with this until we've done the whole headlight on the flat areas that the 3-inch pad will get to. All right, so that's about all I can do with the 3-inch pad. As you can see, it's kind of yellow now. We'll switch over to the 1-inch pad. Bring you in a little closer so you can see better what I'm doing. So we're going to put one nice big drop right in the middle of the 1-inch pad. And we're simply going to take this and we're going to cut in all around the perimeter. You can see the amount of oxidation on this 1-inch pad that it's getting off the perimeter of the headlight. Blow this out. A 4-inch strip. It's quite a bit of oxidation that it's still pulling off the headlight. Now, it may look like I just put a bunch of compound on there, but actually it takes quite a bit of compound to polish plastic compared to polishing paint. And the amount of oxidation that it's pulling out of the plastic pretty much eats up the compound. All right, we just got this little section here across the bottom left to do. Alright, so as you can see, that's a dramatic difference from what I started with. So at this point, we're all done with the cutting part of it. We'll quickly go over it with the foam pads and the headlight polish, and that'll be it for the polishing steps. All right, so same as the first time, we'll go ahead and use the 3-inch pad and we'll get the large flat areas, then we'll come back behind with the 1-inch pad and catch the edges. Don't need nearly as much polish as we did compound because everything actually looks pretty good now. This is just refining it just a little bit. Alright, that's enough with the 3-inch pad. We'll go around with the 1-inch pad real quick. Alright, that's all there is for the polishing end of it. Alright, so looks pretty darn good to me. So we'll go ahead and use some panel wipe on it. We'll wipe this headlight down and put some ceramic coating on it. So I've got some Mckees 37 coating prep spray. Put one little mist across the headlight. Wipe it down, get all the polishing oils and everything off so that the coating adheres properly. So now we'll go ahead and apply the Mckees 37 graphene headlight coating. Got our applicator. Doesn't take a whole lot, just doing a headlight, so cover about half of the sponge. Since it's a new sponge, it's gonna need a little bit extra on the first go around, but not much. Simply cover the whole headlight. Make sure you got everything covered nicely. Give it a second to flash off. Then you simply come behind with a nice clean towel. Level it out. That's all there is to it. Totally restored. Before it was so foggy you couldn't even see the bulbs in there. Now it looks pretty darn close to a new headlight. Not sure how long it took me to do this on camera, but it definitely took me longer filming it and everything than if I were to just sit down and do it. I did the other headlight in probably less than 15 minutes start to finish. But that's exactly how you do it. You can restore the safety factor of your headlights. Makes the appearance of the car look a whole lot better. And that's it. So here's this finished product out in the sun. So as you can see, it did a fantastic job of restoring those headlights. They look pretty good for minimal amount of work, using basically everything I already had in the garage. Well, I hope you found the video informative. Showed you how to increase the safety factor of your vehicle or a family member's or friend's vehicle by 100% compared to what we started with. Definitely improved the appearance of the car. All these products that I used, if you do any kind of detailing, you probably own most of them. Don't worry though, I'll leave links below to everything that I use, so if there's something that you don't have and you want to pick up, the only thing that you may not have is the new Jescar Performance Cut Compound. This is brand new. Excellent compound. You saw how well it took the oxidation off that headlight. Does the same thing on paint. Has nice cut to it, finishes nice, paint looks great. So all of these products can be found at autoforge.net. If you found the video informative and you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to learn any more information on any of these products, please visit autoforge.net. This is Ron Atchison. Thanks for watching.